Hey you guys, it's Dani. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I was perusing YouTube the other day, and I came across this hashtag, the Tarot 7 Connection. This is from Marilyn from Tarot Clarity. I absolutely loved these prompts, these questions. Like, there's nothing to see. So, like, this is one that you could probably listen to. There's nothing to show. It's not showing decks. It's actually talking about the tarot and how we use it, our preferences, things like that. And I thought it was super interesting, and I wanted to jump on this trend. So I'm going to put all of the information from Marilyn's channel down below as usual, and you can check that out. And if you guys do this, I would love for you to tag me, because these are some of my favorite kind of videos to watch, just listening to people talk about how they tarot. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, number 1, are there any types of readings you won't do, and why? So I thought about this for a bit, because I'm like, oh well, that kind of depends, like who I'm reading for, yada yada yada. But there is one thing that I won't do in general at all, and that is read for someone that is not consenting. So what I mean by that is, like, if someone were to come to me and say, like, well, I want a reading on this person, I want to know what they're feeling, what they're doing, what, you know, all this kind of stuff. Like, that's not something that I do. To me, that is an invasion of their energy. They were not, they gave no consent for it. I don't have the right to root around in someone else's energy that did not give me consent in that way for a reading. Not going to happen. The way that I do readings, I will read for the person in front of me and the energy that surrounds them. I will read about how it relates to them personally, but I'm not going to dig into someone else's energy if they did not allow me to do so. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. That's one across the board that I won't do. Yeah, as far as for topics, I think when it comes to topics, it really does depend on the who, what, when, where, and how of the reading, because there are some things that I will only read for people that I know personally, that I know will understand. I guess it's the more sticky questions and readings that I will do for certain people who understand what this reading is for guidance and this, that, and the other, not for, I don't know, I'm not like a doctor or a counselor or a financier or whatever, you know, whatever that may be. I am not a professional anything else. But I won't say that I don't do those, because if, you know, one of my family members comes to me and says, I want to know about this, there's a very big likelihood that I will sit and read for them, no matter what it is, as far as their own topic, because I know that they have a very deep understanding of how I read, what's going to come out, and what they can expect, and how they use that. But I think for general, like, clients that I don't know, I do have restrictions as far as that goes. Like, I'm not going to do pregnancy. I'm not going to give you financial advice. I'm not going to, you know, give you law advice. Like, no, like, not going to do that. I can read the energy around it, but I'm not going to give you that kind of stuff, just because I don't feel comfortable with that. Because some people just, I don't know, it's like they take it as word instead of guidance, and that can be a slippery slope, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the long and short of that answer. Mostly long, I guess, because, you know, chatty. So number 2, is there any tarot card you identify with the most? Which is it? It doesn't necessarily have to be a trump card. It can be a pimp. She can be a pimp. No, it can be a pip card. Or a minor. So, yes. I actually have 3 right now that I incredibly identify with. Because one is a major, like I have my major that I identify with, and then I have 2 court cards that I identify with. So, but I think they go hand in hand, so I'm just going to talk about those. As far as for the major, for me, it's the High Priestess. I'm trying to talk as close to the mic as I can because I know my sound doesn't always come through very well. It's time for a new mic. This old snowball ain't picking it up. Okay. But the High Priestess is definitely the major arcana that I'm really drawn towards. I really identify with. There's something about the High Priestess that has always intrigued me. And I think that's because for me, and like, I feel like you can see that in what I chose for Mystic Masters, there is a sense of the High Priestess walking in 2 worlds. And for me, that's the best way to describe how I feel when not only I read or when I'm, helping someone or, using these energies. That's what it feels like to me. That I can touch and glimpse more than one world. There is an otherworldliness about her. There is a deep knowing and a deep-seated knowledge and seeing behind the veil. And there are moments where I feel like I can embody that, and there are other moments where I call for that energy, right? I know the Empress is sometimes like, oh, well, that's that goddess energy. But for me, the High Priestess feels like that goddess energy. You can take me into the light or the dark. You can take me into this world or the next. And that's really a huge connection for me with any form of divination. So I would definitely say the High Priestess for the major. Now, for the minors, I have always gone towards the Queen of Cups. I am a Cancer sun. I have a lot of water in my chart. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of different things. The good, the bad, and the ugly about the Queen of Cups that really feels like it's very similar to my energy. So that's kind of been a consistent kind of theme throughout since I first started with tarot. But now I feel like I can't talk about the Queen of Cups without also talking about the Queen of Wands when it comes to what I identify with. I feel like now they have merged into one. Where I didn't see it before, I know that she's always kind of been there in my energy, but now I really feel the duality between this water and fire. I really feel the way that they overtake each other, they work together, the absence of one. So I feel like it sort of encompasses that energy for me right now and where I feel like I am. So for me, those are the ones that I identify with in the minors. Number 3, is there any reading that you've ever done that either gave you chills or impressed you? Don't betray anyone by name or who's identifiable. Keep it anonymous. Okay, let me think about this because I know that there are a few, but I want to make sure that I don't say any particulars. Let me think about this. Okay, so there's been a few that have really stood out to me. I think some of my most powerful readings have been in person. However, there is one particular one that was a video reading, so there was no feedback until, a day or so or a few days later. But I think that was one that really kind of stuck with me. And that was in the middle of a reading. It doesn't always happen, but sometimes I'll get this kind of flash of something. So like I'll keep seeing something kind of like come up in my mind's eye, or I'll hear something that just kind of keeps repeating. That may or may not have anything to do with the particular card that I'm reading at the time, but just has to do with the energy. And those instances, I feel, always make me feel like this is going to sound crazy. Or like, I have no idea where this is coming from, but I've learned to say those things. I find it easier when you're in person, when you can be like, okay, this is what I'm seeing. Do you understand this at all, or do we move on? I'm very famous for saying, like, I don't know what this is for, but put it in your pocket, right? Put it in your pocket because I don't know where it's coming from. And that happens quite often, especially when doing video readings, when there's no, like, actual back and forth conversation. It's just, these are the energies, so I'm just, like, giving this to you. And something came up once, and I'm like, I keep seeing this, and I don't understand why. I don't understand the relevance of this. It was just like this weird shaped metal. I'll say it like that. And I kept saying, like, I don't know why I keep seeing this, but put it in your pocket. Maybe you know what it is, maybe you don't, but I just need to say it. So I continue on with my reading. So I get an email back, and it was like, oh, that thing that you saw, I know exactly what it is. And they told me what it was, and that it was near their house, and that it explained something that I was, like, this person or this situation that I was talking about, it had relevance there. And so, like, I got chills right now. Like, it's those kind of things that I'm just like, they always excite me. I think it's because, I mean, I get excited anytime I hear, like, you know, oh, that's really valid, or that I really, you know, I got a lot from that reading, or whatever it may be. Because at heart, like, guys, and I'm sure you've kind of picked that up along the way, like, as much as I do believe, and, you know, I'm entrenched in this, and I have a lot of belief structure about it, I'm still a skeptic at heart. I always have that little hint of skepticism where I'm like, am I crazy? And I think that that's mostly just imposter syndrome, and I think a lot of that has to do with, you know, in growing up, we use our imaginations, or, you know, we actually do have some kind of tune-in with the divine or with the otherworldly things. We have that often as children, or we're more open to that. But society in general tells us that after a certain point, it's not cute. Like, it's not cute. You're weird. You're pretending. Stop that. You know, kind of vibe. And so it's always like you get really excited about, like, how connected you feel, and how easily these readings flow, and, you know, especially for me, in the way that I see and feel and hear, and you know, things land in my body. It's like it's a whole experience. But then that thought creeps in where it's just like, not really though, right? Not really. And then you hear somebody come back and be like, yes, I felt this, I heard this, I know this, I feel this, you know, like, it always amazes me. Because in those moments, sometimes I say, you know, like, reading amnesia is real, where it almost feels like it kind of, something else takes over and guides me where I need to go. So it's like I feel like I'm just a guide, a messenger for what's being shown, told, whatever. So I always feel, you know, excited, and I don't know, it just brings me joy to hear when you give someone a reading and they enjoy it. And you know, I'm not gonna lie, there have been some wild experiences reading. Wild. Some that I can't mention. They're far too private. But yeah, it's those moments where things like that happen, and you get that validation. Especially when you don't have that person in front of you to get that in the moment, just kind of getting that later. Because there's so many times in a reading that I'll be like, I don't know where this is. I don't know what this energy is. This card is, you know, giving off this or whatever, and it doesn't seem relevant at all. It makes no sense to me as a reader. I have no idea what this is. It's those moments where it feels like this doesn't even fit with the narrative that's going on, or this doesn't fit. Those are the most powerful moments, I think. because that really proves that this reading is not for me and not from me. This is for the person I'm reading, because there are things that I don't understand that sound really bizarre or out of place for me, and those are usually the most powerful messages. So that always impresses me. It gives me chills, and it makes me want to keep doing this, because I feel like there is, I don't know, there's magic in it to me. You know, which way that feels to others, there's a connection there, and I love it. Anyway, number 4, which is your preferred system of tarot, and why do you like this system best? As far as for tarot, it would definitely be the RWS. I mean, I do use a lot of like pip style, and I am getting more into and using more of like the actual Tarot de Marseille. And I love the pips, and I love the Marseille. The Thoth, I use, but it's not something that I go to quite often. It's more occult to me in many ways, and my practice doesn't always follow that kind of occult heavy structure. So that kind of gets lost on me. I'm not as into that kind of the alchemy of it all, I guess. Maybe I am. Maybe it's just like, I don't know. It's just one of those things. It doesn't feel like it quite fits in. But I say the RWS as a professional reader, because I feel like, or I enjoy the fact that I get to not only sit with someone and read for them and have this experience with them, but I feel like not only can I talk about the energy and describe it, but oftentimes the cards and the situations on the cards I can point to and reference and kind of bring them along with me and be like, I'm feeling this. Matter of fact, look at this card. Do you see this, that, and the other? It's like I can bring them in and be like, this is what I'm seeing. This is what it feels like. This is what it sort of looks like. Or maybe it's the opposite of this. You know, it gives that point of reference to really bring someone in there with you. I do read for others with, like I said, pips, Marseille, things like that. And you can do the same thing with your words, with that kind of impact, sometimes with the shapes on the cards. But I do have a preference for the RWS, because when it comes to tarot, for me, it's very much like a guidance. It's like an overall full energy view, and it just kind of brings in a lot to the reading. So that's my favorite. And I love all the symbols and the tradition of it. It's one of my favorites. Okay, number 5. Do you prefer doing in-person readings, remote, or other types, and why? Honestly, as a preference, I don't have a preference. Now, personally, I do love a good in-person reading. I love sitting with someone and being able to read and free flow, because when I read in person, I don't go anywhere and read. I don't, I can tell you that's not my favorite. In a public space, and I don't want this to sound like some type of way, or that I'm accusing other readers of anything or anything like that, but like, I feel like when it's in a huge public setting, like, now, let me clarify, like, not like if you're going to, let's say, a reader in Jackson Square in New Orleans, where they're set up outside, but they have their own little space. You know, you can go and sit and whatever. That's a little different, but I mean like a party setting where there are like all these people around, you know, like come and sit. It's like, it's a lot of energy and it's a lot going on, and I feel like I can't really give that person a full intimate session. I just feel like those get very surface level. This is just a gimmick. This is just for fun. And that's just not my space. I mean, it can be. I guess I take this so seriously when I read most times. I don't know. I just feel like I'm like, oh, fuddy-duddy. But, like, I'm not. I take this gift and this ability to heart. Like, for me, it's not just like I memorized a bunch of stuff and I'm going to lay some cards and tell you what they say. I'm going to sit and I am going to read for you with these cards from your energy. And so I don't care for, like, all that. I like a more intimate setting. They can have more than one person there. I've read like that many a times. It's not about the amount of people. It's about what's expected. So, like, when I sit down with someone, I will, and if there are others in the room, I will automatically, say, are you comfortable with whatever comes up in front of these people? That's an important thing for me. So that's probably the only one that I don't really care for, along with, like, maybe over the phone, where, like, no video, just, like, over the phone. I feel like that's just not my favorite experience in general. But I love doing in person. They're my favorite. I love doing over, video call. I love doing that. And honestly, I think the ones that I do, like, video readings where it's like someone comes to me and then I film the reading and then send it to them, like I have, like, on my websites and stuff. I love doing those as well. I find those are the most magical, I think, because you're sitting there with that energy. And for me, the second I press record and I'm connected to that person, it doesn't matter that it's in a different time or space. We perceive time as linear. I don't think that that's actually the case, because I can tell as soon as I turn my camera on and I'm connected there, we are connected. It might be a different time, a different place, but this is the point where we connect. And so doing that and doing those readings and then getting the, those beautiful long emails are my favorite. Getting these email back saying, you touched on this, you touched on that. I love it all. I love it all. So, yeah. I don't really have a preference per se, but there are some that I don't really care for. Number 6, almost done, you guys. I love these questions. I really love these questions. Number 6, besides tarot, are there any other systems you enjoy using? Which ones and why? Yes. Obviously I love Oracle as well. Now for Oracle, I like using Oracle to either hold space or add to a reading. I'm not saying that I never use Oracle and, like, just Oracle for a reading, because I have and I do sometimes, but I feel like those moments are very specific. I like using Oracles, like, okay, for example, the Wild Unknown archetype deck. That's a beautiful placeholder for certain readings. Like, when you're looking for an overall theme, when you're looking for kind of that unique setting, like, where is this energy going, or what energy is being called in, there's, like, a really great instances for certain types of Oracle that really hold space in a reading, and I love that. And for other ones that don't, I really enjoy having the tarot spread and then using that Oracle as an enhancer or as an accompaniment, as a guide to really expand on what's being read. And so to me, Oracle is a really great tool that I use alongside the tarot. Lenormand, love me some Lenormand. Love it, love it, love it. That's one of those systems where the second I saw it, it just, like, I don't know, like, something went off in my brain that I was like, oh wait, I like this, I get this. Like, it very much clicked with me right off the bat. And so Lenormand is definitely one that I love the style and the way that it reads in that kind of, like, I call it like a sentence structure. Love that. So that's why I really like Lenormand, and I love the different style and different types of readings that come out with that, because again, I feel like they're more story, like not story, but like sentence based. Like you get a sentence with it, and I find that very interesting and helpful in many, many ways, especially in, you know, picking a card that kind of represents either the situation or the person, and then shuffling and then laying out and finding that card and seeing what's around it. So I just love the structure and the whole vibe of Lenormand. And then, of course, playing cards. I'm like, I don't remember a time in my life where playing cards were not around me. And for me, learning that structure and then adding in, you know, family ties to it, and adding those extra meanings and grouping things together, and the way that playing cards read is so special to me. But I feel like they're a very specific thing. Like even I am very careful what I go to playing cards for, just in the sense of like, I need to know, do I want to know? Do I really want to know? Do I really want to know? I feel like they are very blunt. For me, there is no in between. A spade is a spade is a spade. And they're very powerful readings. And so those are the main systems that I go towards. I don't really do much else. I have fortune teller cards, but it's not something that I really use often. I kind of use them for funsies, or just to play around, or just to kind of strengthen my intuition, you know, different things like that. But it's very rare that I'll read with those, unless, again, it's like super specific. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, last one. Number 7. What solidified your connection with the tarot? Well, I remember being a kid, and getting my first deck when I was about 12 or 13. And I remember how it felt to lay out that card, like, y'all, the memories just kind of shooting back of like that brown shag carpet that was in my room at the time. And like, I was on the side of my bed, because like you would come into my door, and so like, you know, I had like my main room, and then my bed was here, but then I had a little like where my nightstand was on the other side of my bed. And I remember sitting on that side of my bed so nobody could see what I was doing if they walked in. And I had that paper laid out with the spread on it. And like, I remember going through this little ritual for the first time, and how magical that felt. And so that alone sparked me, you know? In the same way that, like, when I saw that little kit at Barnes & Noble's, I was like, I have to have this. So it's like, I remember it making a big impact in general. Okay. But what solidified tarot in my life for me, I think, was tying it to my family lineage. It solidified it in a way, not that like, I don't know, not in a, oh, see, I'm come from a line of this. This is like, oh, whatever. Like, it's not about that. It's about, like, solidifying why I was drawn to this in the first place, and why I have such a connection to it. And it really validated that for me, I think. Learning and being able to incorporate, you know, things from my own family and my own lineage and the culture that I have, and really tying that in and understanding that more deeply, and then being able to, you know, learn and grow and expand my knowledge in that way, not only with the tarot, but with my culture. It really opened that up for me, you know, to the point that I sought out and I was seeking these kind of things. And, you know, I learned more about my lineage, and then I became trained as a traiteuse, and I like, it really expanded my life in a huge way, and really connected me not only to the tarot and this amazing community, but also to my own personal heritage and stuff. And so once that was mixed, it's like, oh, this is forever, because it feels right. And I don't know, it's in my soul. It's not something that I think I could ever walk away from, if I'm being honest, because now it's solidified as part of who I am as a traiteuse, in the ability to be a messenger and a helper and to be of service. It's my way to be of service, because I feel like that's really important. And that's why, you know, again, I do take this seriously. Like, I know people love it as a party, you know, thing, and to have fun with it. And I love having fun with it, and I love playing with it. But when it comes to actually reading for someone, I take it so seriously, because, you know, again, I'm one of those people, I offer the service. I will never solicit. That's not how it works for me. That's not how it works for my culture and belief system. I can't do anything if I'm not asked, because it is not my place and it's not my whatever. I can offer and say, oh, I'm a traiteuse, and if you need something, you have to ask me, or I can't do anything. I can't treat anyone, even though I know I could help, if I am not asked to do so, because it doesn't come from me. I am only the messenger, the vessel, the conduit. And so that's why there's such a strong belief in, like, I will never ask to give someone a reading. I will never ask to treat someone. That's not how it works, and it won't work for me in my belief structure. So, you know, I take it seriously. You know, I put my whole heart and soul. This is how I am of service, and this is how I can give back and help others. And so it means a lot to me. So yeah, that was kind of a bit of a tangent, but that's okay. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed answering these questions, and I thoroughly enjoyed talking about stuff like this. I would love to see anyone else's that does it. So make sure that you let me know that you do it in the comments down below. I'd love to go take a look. And like I said, Marilyn from Tarot Clarity started this. Their information is going to be down below, and you can also find all my information under there as well. And we'll be back very soon. I'm sending you all my love. Mwah. Later, Gators.